What's up, YouTube? It's Eddie Barrios from the Bronx. Today's topic is why are the black and Hispanic neighborhoods so screwed up? I was having a conversation with a buddy of mine today. My boy Stan, he's my best friend. He's black. And his words are, excuse me, his words were because black people, no, he didn't say that. He said most black people don't give a shit about anybody but themselves. He was speaking we live in a like 80% black neighborhood. This is Hispanics and blacks here, but it's mostly blacks. And he specifically said, because black people don't give a shit about other black folks. He said, that's why our hoods are fucked up. And I said, well, it's the same thing in the Spanish hoods. They just don't give a shit. They're not tight-knit. Black and Hispanic people in the hoods are for self. See, we differ big time from white people. That's why, these white neighborhoods are so safe, and you people think it's because policing is better. I don't agree. I don't think it's because policing is better. I think it's because white people see something and they say something. And I know this from experience, because the problem in the hood is we all live with this ghetto-ass jailhouse code. Even though we're not locked up, we live by this jailhouse code of don't snitch. Snitches get stitches. And I think this is one of the reasons why our neighborhoods are so ridden with crime and drugs. I've lived in neighborhoods where there's a crack house next door. And that crack house doesn't get shut down for years. Why? Because black and Hispanic folks mind their business and they don't say shit. And I can understand that in some cases because they don't want no problems. But they do have anonymous hotlines. You can report crimes anonymously. People, you know this. A lot of you people know this. But you know what? You just don't care because you're for self. You only care about yourselves. White people, blacks are not the only people white people call the cops on. I've lived in white neighborhoods. I lived in suburbs in Pennsylvania. Trust me, those white people, they see some dude sitting in the car, whether he's black or white, and they feel he's not supposed to be there. They actually call the police, and the police come and check it out. See, we don't do nothing like that. Why? Because black and Hispanic people in the hood just don't give a shit. We are in this survival mode 24 hours a day. And let me tell you another thing. When I walk down the street at night in my neighborhood, I'm not watching my back for the police. I'm sorry, I'm not. There's so much more worse to worry about than the police when you live in the hood. And a lot of people don't like this kind of truth. They hate this truth. Stan started talking about black on black murders. My boy Stan says, I don't understand how, 800, 900 black men kill each other every year, and there's no protests, there's no nothing. There's not a big stink about it. And he said as soon as a white man kills a black man, or a Hispanic man kills a black man, or a Chinese man kills a black man, it's worldwide fucking news, and there's protest, and he said it's all crazy. And he's blacks, and he doesn't get it. And you know what? When I lived in Spanish Harlem, same thing. I even lived in Philadelphia for about 2 years. Oh man. The Hispanics in Philadelphia, they kill each other off like flies. There's a whole section in a cemetery in Philadelphia where it's all Puerto Ricans under the age of 25. The whole section. And I walked through there with my older brother, and he says, that guy was shot. This guy was shot. That guy was shot. That guy, I was like, holy shit. And they were all killed by other Hispanics. No protests, no big stink. But in Philadelphia, as soon as a white cop kills a Hispanic man, boom, protests worldwide, all over the damn states. You know, we were talking about various topics. A lot of people say, well, the areas are so bad because there's too much police and not enough policing. I think maybe in some cases that's true, but I think if we took care of each other the way that they did, that white people do for their neighborhoods, for your neighborhood's sake, your neighborhood would be a much safer place to be around. Because people who do these kind of things in the hood, they keep doing them because nobody says a goddamn thing about it. Nobody says nothing. We see it. You know, around here, there was a shooting. There was a big shootout over here. A lot of people saw that shit. Police came. Nobody saw nothing. Oh no, I'm minding my business. Snitches get stitches. A ton of them could have made anonymous phone calls, but nobody did. You know, Monday was Earth Day. This is a Spanish and black neighborhood. You know what I saw on Monday? A bunch of white people cleaning up our fucking neighborhood. That's all that was out here. There were volunteer white people from other areas coming to the hood to clean up the nasty, disgusting fucking garbage that we throw. Well, not me personally, because I don't throw any garbage in the street. That's one thing I don't do. And it was all white people just cleaning it up. And I kept driving and I was looking to see if I could see some black people. And once in a blue, I'd see a black couple or a Hispanic person. But it was like 95, 98% white people come into the hood to clean up our dirty ass, stinking ass neighborhood, because that's another thing that we do. We complain so much about the neighborhood being dirty, but who's dirtying the neighborhood? Let me tell you something. A lot of people, well, those are people passing through. No. That's the people who live in the neighborhood. You unwrap your candy wrapper, you throw it on the floor. You finish drinking the soda, you throw the can on the floor. I see it time and time again around here. Nobody cleans it up. The majority of white people don't do that shit. That's why when you drive through a white neighborhood, it's clean as fuck. Because they clean out their property. They clean their property and they clean the property outside their property, even though it's, state owned. They clean their garbage. A lot of us don't do that. Me personally, in front of my house, my properties, I clean my properties. And I actually clean the street in front of my properties if there's garbage there. But if everybody did that, God, our neighborhood would be so much cleaner. But we don't. I go to the park to walk my dog. I see people of color with their pit bulls and their dogs. And their dogs take a great big mountain lion shit right on the grass. And these motherfuckers just keep walking. They don't even clean it up. Every time I see a white person walking their dog in that park, they clean up the shit. It's like we just don't give a fuck. We don't care. And then all these things that we do, we complain about. Or we blame white man, or we blame the police, or we blame somebody. Everybody has an excuse to why it is the way it is. But it's the way it is because the people in the neighborhood make it like that. And personally, it hurts and bothers me because, when people talk about this section of my neighborhood that I live in, they think it's so terrible. Oh, that's a bad neighborhood. And I look at them and I say, listen, there's no bad neighborhood. It's just some bad people. There is no such thing as a bad neighborhood. It's bad people. And these people keep doing the same things because no one says anything. We all, like I said, we live by, I don't know when we started living by this jailhouse code of snitches get stitches. I can understand you don't want nobody seeing you talking to police, But you know, they got a hotline where you can call. You don't have to give them your name. You don't have to give them your address. You don't have to give them shit. And you can make these reports. And when the police come to these neighborhoods, they don't expect to get much information anyways. But they try because that's their job. But we don't say shit. We want protection. We want to clean the neighborhood. Why there's 10 drug dens on this block. Nobody does a goddamn thing. Nobody says anything. But they'll get on TV, they'll get on YouTube, they'll get on everywhere and complain about it. And then they blame everybody else. They blame everybody except the people in that neighborhood. Whether it's a Hispanic neighborhood or a white neighborhood. And I mean Hispanic or black. There's not too many ghetto-ass white neighborhoods that I've ever been to. I've been to Asian areas, clean. White neighborhoods, clean. Unless you go to some raggedy trailer park in Florida. And you see some really trashy, ghetto-ass white people over there. But I'm talking about in our suburban areas, our hoods. You know, New York City. I mean, it just doesn't matter where you go. If it's a Spanish or black neighborhood, it's a fucking dump. I travel for my job. I go everywhere. Nashville, Mississippi, Florida. Every black and Hispanic area in every city, it's a fucking drug-infested ghetto. And nobody does anything. And nobody says anything. Everybody wants change, but nobody does nothing. Everybody wants these little changes, but nobody does anything about it. And me personally, it hurts me and it bothers me because we don't do shit. Not a damn thing. We can complain like a motherfucker, though. We complain our asses off and we blame everybody else except the actual people in the neighborhood. That some of them are part of the problem. So, you know, that's a big dilemma there. That a lot of people of color are always looking to shift the blame to somebody else. Like outsiders are coming to our neighborhoods and dumping their garbage on our streets. You know? So, I don't know. It's just I get these little things in my head. I talk to my friend Stan. We talk about a lot of topics. And that was something that we had a deep conversation about. We just finished talking today. We talked about 3 hours. And Stan is a black man and he's super realistic. He's super realistic, and so am I. You know, truth is truth. A lot of people don't like to hear garbage about their own people. I got Hispanic friends. If you say anything negative about a Hispanic thing, they get all offended. Oh, that's racial. Now you can't say anything because everything is fucking racial now. Everything is racial. You can't bring up nothing because it'll be racial. It's racially insensitive. Even if it's truth. Everything's about race now. That's the defense. You know, me and my wife, speaking about that, me and my wife, hey hon, Madane, what store were we at? I want to tell you, I want to bring this up. Baby, what was that store? Remember with that Puerto Rican guy and that black girl were trying to use the fake credit cards? That was Ollie's? It was next door to Ollie's, right? Yeah. So we went to Ollie's. When we came out of the store, there was a store next door, and there was a white man in a tie, looked like he was the manager of the store, followed this black woman and this Puerto Rican guy out. They were a couple. They did something. They did something fucked up. And they were walking around trying to lose the manager in the parking lot. They didn't want to go to their car. They didn't want to go to their car because the manager had a camera phone out and he would have got a picture of their license. So they were going to different cars and standing in front of them, and the manager was taking pictures of those cars that weren't their car. So the Spanish guy walks by me. So he sees that my wife is black and I'm part Hispanic. So he says, this fucking guy is racially profiling us. And me and my wife looked at each other like, there's another motherfucker using race, doing something fucked up, gets caught, and saying they're being racially profiled. This is the new fucking norm for a lot of people of color now. They mess up, they get caught, and they scream racial profiling. So it turns out that these two people, they came out on the news actually a day and a half after. And we saw them on the news. They had the picture from inside the store. We was like, that's them! They were fucking using fucking stolen credit cards to try to purchase shit. But I guess the store ran the card and it was reported stolen and they tried to escape. But he walked by me, but he thought I was going to agree with him because he's Hispanic and I look Hispanic, and he thought I was going to say, yeah. And I'm looking at him thinking, no, motherfucker, you did something. I could see that, the way you and your girl's trying to get away. But this is what it is. This is what it's come to now. Everybody's screaming racial profiling, even when they do something wrong. Everybody. This is the new thing now. They fucking up, and a lot of people want justice for their fuck ups because they got caught. I'm watching all these cases that are going on with these police shooting these black folks. They're shooting Hispanic folks, and a lot of them are obviously, to me, a lot of them are obviously racial, but there's a lot of them that are not. It's just criminal motherfuckers getting caught. And people are still saying, oh, we want justice. We got video of the little Spanish kid who was out at 3 o'clock in the morning. What the fuck was his 15-year-old ass doing outside at 3 o'clock in the morning with a goddamn gun? And I didn't know he had a gun until I actually watched the body cam release and the pictures. And the fucker had a gun. Gun is right in his hand. We want justice. Like, what the fuck was that kid doing out there at 3 o'clock in the morning with a gun after shots were heard? This kid wasn't pulled over randomly. They heard shots. They went there and saw him running. And he had a gun in his hand. Up to the point where the police officer came up to him and you could see in the shot, he has a gun. And you got the other kid, and these are kids. Everybody who's going through this, like doing these things, are like kids. The 13-year-old, 14-year-old girl got shot by the officer 4 times. Oh, we want justice. She wasn't doing anything. I watched the video of her beating up one girl and then throwing up another girl against the car and ready to come down and jab a knife in her. And her daddy was there. Kicked the other girl that was on the floor in the head. All those adults there. Nobody had the goddamn sense to stop that bullshit. At least stop when the cops come. At least to that point. Chill out when the cops show up. Chill the fuck out. Because you know how they're going to do to us. They're going to shoot first and ask questions later. But there's a lot of these cases that I've been watching lately, and a lot of them are racial, I think. A lot of them are trigger-happy cops, and a lot of them are just cops. I put myself in their situation, and it's like, what would you have done? I don't know. Because let me tell you something. If they didn't shoot, and that girl stabs that other girl and kills that other girl, and guess what? It's going to be the cop's fault. Why didn't you stop her? I mean, they will always look for something. You know what I'm saying? So, I think. I don't know. You know what? I don't have the answers, and neither do a lot of you. Everybody has their opinion, but nobody really has the answer. And people of color need to chill the fuck out. and start taking care of each other and uniting. Because I listen to a million black activists and a million Spanish activists talking about unite, 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 unite. Guess what? It's not working. It's not working. Why? Like Stan says, people of color, a lot of people of color in the hood just don't give a fuck about anybody else but themselves. He said they're for self. And I agree. I agree. I agree 100%. And it sucks. Anyway, you know what? I'm getting all fucking long-winded now. Just thoughts. I always speak my thoughts, and these things are just my opinion. Because, like I said, I don't have answers. I have suggestions, but my suggestions may not work for people. I just know what I can do for myself and for people around me to make things nice. I try to be super cool with my neighbors. You know, I go to work, take care of my wife, take care of the house, clean my property, clean around my property, don't cause any trouble. And I'll tell you right now, if a crack house opened up next to my house, I'd call every single day until that crack fucking house was busted. Every day. And that's what white people do. They will make a phone call every day. If nothing is done, you know those motherfuckers. I am outraged. I called you 5 times in this week and there's still nothing. Those motherfuckers call the congressman. They go to their state representative. That's what they do. That's why things get done. But no. Snitches get stitches. I mind my own business. I'm just looking out for myself. I take care of my own affairs. Don't worry about anybody else. And you really think it doesn't affect you. But you know what? And when you live in a neighborhood that's fucked up because of these things, yes, it affects you. And if you have kids, it affects your kids. It really does. You think it doesn't until it does. Your kids end up being one of those dealers or joining one of the gangs, and nobody does nothing about it. Anyways, Eddie Barris from the Bronx. Y'all have a good night. Peace out.